Got it. Done. And got it. All righty, y'all. Peace and greetings to you all. Namaste, namaste, namaste. Islam, Islam, Islam. I am Brother Hasan Ghaziel Bey here in Morocco at Northwestern Maxim. How are you? All righty, guys. Let's have some fun, guys. This is AstroCivics Sunday number 53 for our Holy Koran Devotional Countdown. We're at chapter 21, Marriage Instructions for Man and Wife from the Noble Prophet. And I am here with our magnificent and beloved brother in whom we are well pleased. And he is
Islam, peace and love. Pazzi and Moor. It's GBIC Sean. Yeah. Y'all also previously, called on to know me as what was that appellation, bro?
Braveheart. Always fun, guys. We're going to jump right into it. We ain't going to even waste any time, right? Invocation in. Brother Sean's going to do this invocation in. You guys already know. We would like
Such a beautiful chapter.
I
probably read through it about like 3 times a day, and I'm just like,
oh yeah,
man, like.
Indeed, man. We're in the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, right? Administrative function, pages 48 and 45. Handsomely standing due guard on page 48 is our beloved Prophet Noble Ali and his Moorish Sharif Fez and Abba. And we're going to knock out this invocation in. Brother Sean Aline L is going to recite it. You guys, remember, extend all 5 appendages on the left hand, just the index and middle on the right. All righty. We're going to stand on a 45-degree angle with our feet like Prophet Noble Ali's there. And you can repeat after Brother Sean, either aloud or in your heart. Islam.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Peace.
Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector. My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. Through his holy prophet. Noble Drew Ali. Amen, bro.
Amen. Alrighty, let's take it on to pages 84 and 85 in the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Administrative Functions. The following is a letter written by Prophet Noble Ali on the 18th day of January, 1928, Anno Domini. He commanded that it be read before every meeting. Administrative Functions, Moorish Science Temple of America, Home Office, 3603 Indiana Avenue, Noble Ali, founder, Chicago, Illinois, January 18th, 1929. To be proclaimed in every meeting, dear brother Islam, I am glad to know that I have few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy, quote unquote, about me and the movement. Now, by the same people of our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials of the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as an American citizen, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they themselves may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that contribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need bad. Never before have I needed finance as badly as I do at present, that I may shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my, quote, fame and nobility, end quote, period. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being the head. It has been proven by my work in which I have performed in the last few months because I was at the governor's inauguration to represent the Moorish Divine and National Movement, and I will be at the inauguration of President Hoover for the same cause, Noble Drew Ali. Moving right along to the Moorish literature, excerpts from the Moorish Guide newspaper. On page 12, we see still handsomely standing due guard in his Moorish Sharif's Fez and Abba's Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And on page 13, I yield the floor to our beloved brother, Sean Ali Mel, Islam.
Islam. Divine warning by the Prophet Noble Drawley. Prophet warns all Muslim. Governor is ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing at cars at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple of the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive the reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drawley, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways by order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Alrighty, so we are here in the Holy Quran for the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, doing religious corporate activity by affidavit and adopting its corporate name, Moorish Science Temple of America. We're at chapter 21, marriage instructions for man and wife from the Noble Prophet. And in normal reading fashion, as we do here, Brother Sean will be reading the minutes here or the verses, right? And I will do my normal, yeah, I'm serious, member. Type of ad-libbing, right? Just to give this. What's interesting about chapter 22 and 21, as we already read 22, if I'm not mistaken, 21 is what brothers would read at a matrimonial obligation, and 22 is what the mothers would read, right? So that would be 1 and 1, if I'm recalling correctly, that's what it would be. So if you were going through your matrimonial obligation, brothers, you would be reading chapter 21. Mothers, you would be reading chapter 22. Those that are, making the matrimonial obligation to one another. That's how the reading would go, right? So I just wanted to make sure that I point that out from, a bit of experience that I've, witnessed that. That's what it is. Chapter 22 and 21 is what's utilized. Mother will read 22, sons will read 21. And I yield the floor to our beloved brother, whom we're well pleased, Brother Sean Ali. Now, Islam.
Islam. All right, here we go. Chapter 21, marriage instructions for man and wife from the Noble Prophet. Give ear, fair daughter of love, to the instructions of prudence, and let the precepts of truth sink deep in thy heart. So shall the charms of thy mind add luster to the elegance of thy form, and thy beauty, like the rose it resembleth, shall retain its sweetness when its bloom is withered.
So how about, you don't want to be a ratchet, so yeah, just give ear, fair daughter pertaining to love, right? And so, being, to the instructions pertaining to prudence, right? That's wisdom. And then the precepts pertaining to truth, they're maxims, right? Right? Let them sink deep into the center pertaining to your being, right? And into your body, right? As it is within, so it is without, right? As it is without, so it is within, pertaining to the law of correspondence, the second Hermetic principle pertaining to correspondence. That, of course, goes along with as it is above, so it is below, as it is below, so it is above. So, it's already kind of showing off the break what is, favored and what it should be. No one wants someone who can't control their temper and just can fly off at any time, be angry. And, who can really love that? honestly, right? So what needs to actually happen, is for, everyone involved, mothers and sons, to be able to make sure that, they are sincerely always having a regal countenance, so to speak, right? And making sure that, they are making themselves, what's the word? Lovable by being loving. Alrighty. So that one alone doesn't need too much of an ad lib. I mean, I think it's pretty simple to see what would be attractive, period. Right? It's kind of showing early like what should be formed in people's minds so they can be these things. No one wants a ratchet boomquisha. No one wants somebody who has an attitude problem either. All right. So go ahead. I yield the floor, bro. Number 2.
Indeed, and yeah, I just like the part right there. It's like show shall the charms of thy mind add luster to the elegance of thy form. And so yeah, her body beautiful, but her mind is ugly. But now she has this beautiful body and this beautiful mind that adds to it. So it's like, man, I love her body and her mind. So you gotta have the both sides of it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, definitely the mind definitely has to be on point, because anything else is just like a soulless shell, an empty cart of Jagannath. Flat out. I yield, bro. Islam.
In the spring of thy youth and the morning of thy days, when the eyes of men gaze on thee with delight, and nature whispereth in thine ear the meaning of their looks.
Yeah, in other words, when they like cat calling you, hey baby, what's up? Shorty, you got a boyfriend? I'm just saying, you looking fine in a motherfucker. It would be best for you to preserve yourself. But go ahead, I yield.
Hear with caution their seducing words. Guard well thy heart, nor listen to their soft persuasions.
Yeah, so just guard your heart well, guard your center, all your centers. The centers between your legs, the centers between your chest, like your feelings. Yeah, don't listen to the soft persuasions of making you just be another notch in their belt. You know what I'm saying? Honestly. And it's a lot of people that's gone through just being notches in a bunch of guys' belts. And then maybe later on in life, in your 40s and 50s, now it's finally a commitment. However, can you actually keep it? Or are you going to still try to be a controlling ratchet quisha? Which at that point, that man has chosen the wrong woman that we went over in chapter 22 last cycle. It shows you what kind of woman, we don't want to have. It really does. That's why the Quran is just amazing. This is a beautiful book. I yield, beloved brother Islam.
Remember, thou art made man's reasonable companion, not the slave of his passion. The end of thy being is not merely to gratify his loose desire.
Yeah, you're just not just a smack and clap. That's all.
A smash and pass, they like to say.
Smash and dash. It's all. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Yeah. But to assist him in the toils of life, to soothe his heart with thy tenderness, and recompense his care with soft endearments.
That's right. Don't get on that man's nerves. Don't be someone who just finds the means to just have an excuse all the time. Like, make sure you're really loving that brother, right? Seriously. And brothers, it's coming for you too. The instructions is coming. They're coming. Even though you got instructions in chapter 22 also. I yield, brother.
Prophet ain't forget about y'all. 4. Who is she that winneth the heart of man, that subdueth him to love, and reigneth in his breast?
Where, who is she? Where he's like happy. He ain't, like just happy at moments and times. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, as long as she's in a good mood, it's great. But as soon as she loses her temper, he's like, oh, well, why did I make this decision? You know what I mean? So yes, who is that mother that wins his heart, right? Not just wins it and then want to like crush it with hard endearments instead of soft ones, right? Right? Who is she that reigns in his breast, right? I yield.
Lo, yonder she walketh in maiden sweetness, with innocence in her mind and modesty on her cheek.
That's long. I don't think that needs an ad lib. You know what I mean? It's pretty clear what kind of a mother is. What kind of a mother? When I say mother, I'm talking about woman that's preferred. Nobody wants a boomquisha. Nobody wants someone with an attitude problem. I'm telling you from experience, along with a reading. I yield.
Her hand seeketh employment, her foot delighteth not in gadding abroad.
Indeed, she ain't trying to be all everywhere and all over the place. She's trying to be able to focus her energies. I yield.
She is clothed, heavy on that, clothed with neatness. She is fed with temperance. Humility and meekness are as a crown of glory circling her head.
Look at that. That doesn't make you sisters weak. You know, you don't have to try to defend yourself because maybe you've had bad experiences in the past, and then you come across someone who is completely honoring you and loving you, but yet, you know, whatever's happening in your head, you're just ultimately being abusive, but then trying to say it's, you know, the guy's fault why you're being and acting a certain way because he's not acting a certain way that you think. Again, that's not being a fair daughter of love. Which is just gonna keep it a band with you. All right, I yield.
On her tongue dwelleth music. The sweetness of honey floweth from her lips. Decency is in all her words.
In all her words. In all her words. Decency. In all her words. Go ahead.
And her answers are mildness and truth.
Mildness, not spiciness. Mildness and truth. That's why I tied in with, you know, master and servant in chapter 28, verse 3. If we look at master and servant as mother and son, and it says, when thy master rebukes you, answer not again. So when mother rebukes you, answer not. Don't be getting in arguments. Just keep quiet. You see what I'm saying? You're doing everything that you can to not have, you know, because you already know you may get one or two words in, and at the end of the day, you're going to be wrong. You're going to be one with the issues that needs to grow up, and all that. You're the one that's got to grow up, you know, brothers. Why? Because you said two words to try to be sensible, but you know what? You're the one who is unhealed from previous situations because you're doing your best to be sensible and continue to be loving, right? Because you're remembering her frame. So you're being tender to her. Remember we read in chapter 22, be tender to thy sex, and remember, you know, be mindful of your own weakness and remember her frame. That's dealing with the mind too. Because sex isn't just, you know, when you're talking intercourse, it isn't just physical, it's the mental exchange also. You know, when some people, you know, may not look at it like that, but I'm telling you. And man knows not NAUGHT, which is falsehood, by being told. So the only thing you can do is if you experience someone being very harsh with their words and you're a son and she's your consort, then there's no need to defend yourself, because the fact that there is an aggressiveness coming from them, they're not even thinking straight, actually. They're really not. because these instructions show how the conversation should go, how the interaction should be, how the behavior should be. Just keeping in the band with you guys, right? On her tongue dwells music. The sweetness of honey flows from her lips. Don't nobody want to hear, an emergency siren and vinegar. You want to hear music and honey, not an emergency tornado siren and vinegar. No one likes that. That's never attractive. No one wants to deal with that. And so people in general, mothers and sons, need to not place a burden on themselves by getting offended and then going out hurting people with their words. Being mentally abusive, which is psychological abuse, verbally abusive, emotionally abusive, which leads to physical abuse. And I know some brothers out there dealing with that stuff right now. I know. I speak with them. All right. So I'm just telling you, respectfully mentioning. All right, I yield, bro. Islam.
Indeed, and throw the silent treatment in there too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 9. Submission and obedience are the lessons of her life, and peace and happiness are her reward.
Look at that. But see, it's so funny because some people hear that and be like, submission and obedience. Oh, so now I got to submit and obey to this. Like, actually, you've been given instruction. The instruction is, dear mothers, teach these lessons to your little ones that they may learn to love instead of hate. So sub is under, mission is the goal. So get under the mission, uphold the mission, uphold the goal. And obedience is really being in line with that so that you can be able to accomplish it. So if it's submission and obedience are your lessons, guess what you're supposed to teach? It's very simple if we actually read this and take our ego out of it and not want to, always find a means to show that we're not actually psychologically healed and try to make it a tit for tat. Well, you men are this way type energy. You see what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's definitely easier to try to reflect it or put it on somebody else rather than, really looking internally first to see, like, does that outside match what's going on in the inner? Are you respecting yourself, giving love to yourself? And if so, then that should be reflected on the outer. If not, then yeah, that's some work to do. So, doing that scapegoat, blaming others to avoid yourself, it never really works out because peace and happiness won't be your reward. It'd be misery.
Islam. I yield, bro. I yield.
Before her steps walketh prudence, and virtue attendeth at her right hand.
Before her steps walketh prudence, which means she already made wise decisions before she made her move. She made wise decisions. And virtue, y'all need to look up the word virtue, attends at her right hand. Sheesh. I ain't gonna front, man. A Koran paints a beautiful woman. That right, that's what it is. And brothers, you can't be all, and I get it. Sometimes, sisters will try to, in some way, and I've seen it, try to paint your character a certain way because their character is actually not all the way on point. And so instead of them being completely accountable on their own without the, if I'm going to hell, I got to bring you with me mindset, you know, if they can be accountable on their own, great. But brothers, at the same time, what you got to make sure you're doing is really be, calm, cool, collected, be these things. And I know sometimes when you're being calm and you're doing right, even that can be used against you as if you're doing something wrong. But again, that's because, there's some healing that still needs to take place, possibly in your consort, because, she doesn't want to be accountable on her own. So again, chapter 28, verse 3, if thy master rebuketh thee, answer not again. And the silence of your resignation will be remembered. Because you answering not again doesn't mean that you don't have anything to say. It is you showing that you actually love them and you don't want to participate in a verbal war. You don't want to do those things, especially if you have children. You don't want to express that in front of them. Make the right decisions, brothers. It doesn't make you a punk or a chump. I promise you. All right, I yield, beloved brother Islam.
Her eye speaketh softness and love, but discretion with a scepter sitteth on her brow.
Look at that. There's that scepter again, just like, when you're given that. That's why I said, read chapters 28 and 29, right? Master and servant, magistrate and subject, you'll see it. I call them both mother and son, master and servant, mother and son, magistrate and subject, mother and son, respectfully. Because what it does is it allows you to remain in behavior. And I get it. Sometimes people do want you to go to hell with them. They're in a angry mindset. And so they want you to go off. Like I was speaking to one of my elder mothers today. It's like, it's a shame how some mothers, they won't really respect the man that they're with unless the man resorts to slapping the shit out of them. And then it's like, oh, he's such a man, I love him. But let's really think, why did there have to be some form of aggression in order for you to be satisfied with that man? That doesn't make sense. Why is that acceptable in your mind? And again, that's why it said in chapter 22, fix not suddenly for, fix not suddenly for thy present choice, will basically be what you have to deal with for the rest of your life. I'm telling you, it is very tough, because we are experiencing a world where it seems like you can be instigated to do things, but if you're a real father, right? And the instruction for fathers is, dear fathers, by these lessons, you can set your house in order so that ye little ones will learn to love instead of hate. So yeah, you don't want to get out of character and yell and raise your voice and curse and things get physical, even if the mother is getting physical with you. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? I telling you, I received things, correspondences. I'm like, dang, she hit this man with such and such and such and such. And it's like, Jesus Christ. Well, man, you did a great job. You didn't do anything but put your clothes on and walk out the house. You did excellent, actually. But sometimes, sometimes people don't want to be the only ones to have to apologize for their wrongdoing. They wish that you did something too, so that you can have two wrongs instead of one. I yield, beloved brother Islam.
Islam. The tongue of the licentious is dumb in her presence. The awe of her virtue keepeth him silent.
Indeed, indeed, man. That is a powerful sister and beautiful. Telling you, mothers can really aim to be that. Sheesh. Jesus Christ. All right, I yield, bro. Islam.
When scandal is busy and the fame of her neighbors is tossed from tongue to tongue, if charity and good nature open not her mouth, the finger of silence resteth on her lip.
Yuppity, duppity, looky, looky, Astro cookie. She ain't about to be running her mouth, gossiping. She ain't about to be talking behind your back. Right? But also at the same time, it's like, she should always be in the mode of charity and good nature anyway, technically. How many mothers out there are like this that's being described? Honestly, are you really this? I'm just saying, how many, and you don't have to answer it in the chat or anything. Just roll it in your mind. Are you reflecting this behavior? All right, beloved brother, I yield. Islam.
Indeed. Her breast is a mansion of goodness, and therefore she suspecteth no evil of others.
That is, woo! In her breast is the mansion of goodness, and therefore she suspects no evil of others. So that means that she's not making assumptions about what you're thinking and if you say something, what it may actually mean. And you're actually, so that's very strong. I don't want anybody out there thinking that I'm not saying that these kinds of women don't exist. I know they absolutely exist. I'm just asking how many that are viewing, or when you see this in the dimensions to manifest term, the future, and you see this playback, is this really you, or do you really need to work on yourself? Really? Without saying, well, the men need to work on themselves too. No. The brothers, be accountable on your own. Mothers, be accountable on your own.
Simple.
So that when you come together, there isn't any miscommunications, which is the root of all issues in any relationships, whether they're romantic, morantic, erotic, or platonic. I yield, bro.
Happy were the man that should make her his wife. Happy the child that should call her mother.
If she's all these things 1 through 14, that would be a happy man and child. Yes. I yield.
She presideth in the house, and there is peace. She commandeth with judgment, and is obeyed.
That's why I say, see, preside, that's like a president. That's why I said, look at chapters 28 and 29, magistrate and subject as mother and servant. Master and servant as, magistrate and subject as mother and son. Master and servant as mother and son. Because who's presiding? She's laying down the law. We sons enforce it. And I don't mean to have peace in your house, sisters, by being a domineering control freak and then lying about that that's what you're really doing. So commanding with judgment means that you've actually weighed the options. Why? Because you're being prudent. So it's nothing for you to be obeyed. It's nothing for father to enforce the law being laid down from the mothers that are presiding in the house. Period. It's very simple. Can it be done? to those of you that are out there viewing. Can it be done? Can you accomplish it? All right, I yield, bro. Islam.
She ariseth in the morning. She considers her affairs and appointeth to everyone their proper business.
Looky, Astro Cookie. That's a president, right? Look at her presiding. I yield. That one was easy. I don't think it needs an ad lib. I yield.
Mm-hmm. The care of her family is her whole delight. To that alone she applieth her study, and elegance with frugality is seen in her mansion.
Look at that. Look at that. The care of her family is her whole delight. Not delighting in her look and all that other stuff in chapter 22, which is the kind of woman we don't want. And to that alone, she applies her study. Man, she's a student for life. And elegance with frugality is seen in her mansion. Look at that. Need to be rap songs with this stuff in it.
Man.
With respectable looking sisters performing those songs. I yield.
The prudence of her management is an honor to her husband. He heareth her praise with a secret delight.
Indeed. He will be so proud of her.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, man. Because, he's not having any headaches because she's consistent in not giving headaches. Looky, Astro Cookie. I yield, man. Islam.
She informeth the minds of her children with wisdom. She fashioneth their manners from the examples of her own goodness.
Told you, gotta be an example, mothers. Dear mothers, teach these lessons to ye little ones so that they may learn to love instead of hate. Dear mothers, teach. I yield.
The words of her mouth is the law of their youth. The motion of her eye commandeth their obedience.
The words of her mouth is the law to their youth, to the children's youth. And the motion of her eye commands obedience. Look at that.
All she gotta do is look at you. And you're like, oh.
Like, you know what? I ain't gonna do that because her eye is commanding obedience. All right, I yield, bro. Islam.
She speaketh, and the servants fly. She pointeth, and the thing is done. For the law of love is in their hearts, and her kindness addeth wings to their feet.
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. I mean, kindness really does make, a son obey in a loving fashion. It really does. Sometimes I have to, share wisdom with brothers and be like, man, just still act it out as if she's being kind, even though she's coming off harsh. You know what I mean? That doesn't make you a punk or a chump or anything like that. That's just keeping you from not retaliating. Period. I yield, bro. Islam.
In prosperity, she is not puffed up. In adversity, she healeth the wounds of fortune with patience.
Look at that. That is amazing. So when she up, she ain't big-headed. And when there's a little bit of an issue, there's some adversity, There's some being bent, some things are out of shape. She heals the wounds of fortune with patience, sincere patience. And the reason why I say, we are to adopt these things too, also, sons, because remember, mother is supposed to be doing this as an example. So that means it's a never-ending cycle of this behavior on both sides. Honestly. Go ahead, I yield.
The troubles of her husband are alleviated by her counsels and sweetened by her endearments. He putteth his heart in her bosom and receiveth comfort.
Put his heart in her bosom and receives comfort. So she's not, causing extra, disgust and pain by saying the wrong things, because her counsels, right, are alleviating his troubles and sweetened by her endearments. It's a beautiful, beautiful woman. Go ahead, I yield.
And, just to add on real quick, reading and understanding these lessons would clear up the whole social media fight that goes on as to why a man can't open up to his woman. Reading this clears that all away, because, man, I was just reading this, man, I've seen so much, and it's like, if people would only read and they would get to what the prophet said, if I can just get you to thinking, you would save yourselves. Man. All right, here we go. Final one. Happy is the man that has made her his wife. Happy the child that call her mother.
See what 15 said? See the should? Like, man, somebody actually comes across this. This would be the outcome. Then it happens. Now see the outcome? Instead of happy were the man that should, and happy the child that should. That means it ain't happened yet. But now that it's happened, the man is happy. Why? Because she knows how to control herself without making excuses. And it is a constant practice in the mind. This stuff ain't no joke. So, mothers, you say you're about being Moorish American. This is what Prophet Noble brought for us. Why not be in your Quran? Especially chapters 21 and 22. Happy is the child. Happy the child that call her mother. All right.
Man, this one, 22. What chapter is misery? Like 41, 42?
Something like that. Misery is chapter 44.
44?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's chapter 21 and 22. Then you said 28 and 29. And then I think like 40 to 44, because I remember when we first started and got to those chapters, he's like, man, this is like the hardest part to make it through, because it has you really looking at yourself. So
yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Without trying to bring somebody to hell with you. Well, if I gotta change, you gotta change too. Like, Why can't you just change on your own? Because you need to be that. You want to have a family, you want to have a house that's together, then you don't have to bring people to hell with you. And why look at you actually fixing your character to be something hellish? Well, if I got to do this, you got to do this too. Really? Why? Why can't it just be done off of your own volition? Right? Why can't you just want to do it? But yeah, because remember back in 22 when we read last Sunday, right? 2, but examine with care and fix not suddenly. On thy present choice depends thy future happiness. Trying to tell you, man. I know I've actually made actual mistakes thinking like, okay, well, this is this and this is that. And then I realized like, got me again. like,
for real. It's like, dang it.
Yeah, like, wow, man. Wow. Like, and, those past situations, like, glad they're the past, right? So with that being said, right, let's see what we got to hear, right? Let's say Islam to everyone in the chat. Peace and greetings, beloveds. All righty. So Mother Janelle Blashell says, Islam, mother. And Brother Derek Blashbay says, Islam, everyone. Islam to you too, brother. Derek Blashbay. Mother Sahar says, peaceful greetings to all. And Brother Derek says, crown of glory. Yes. Mother Sahar says, indeed. Brother Derek says, moral strength. Indeed. Brother Tyro says, peace and love, everyone. Peace and love to you too, Brother Tyro. Mother Sahar says, her love and wisdom creates a peaceful environment. Indeed. The sister at Open 642, she is looking. Indeed. I mean, and guys, I know a lot of times people try to pimp with Moorish science and talk down to people. Let's be clear. That is not my intention in any way, shape, or form. So let me definitely speak that straight up to y'all. That's not my intention. My thing is to just ask a question. And remember, when I'm asking, not just of the mothers or the brothers, don't sit there and jump to conclusions, right? And make accusations, right? What was that in chapter 20? What was that in chapter 22 that it said? It says 14. Her breast is the mansion of goodness, and therefore she suspects no evil of others. So when something's being said, like when I'm asking the questions and things like that, like to suspect me of doing some type of evil or something like that, it's like it's showing that there's no goodness in your heart. You see what I'm saying? The goodness is not there. But yet I'm pretty sure you will want people to think or believe that it is. So there must be a practice internally, because when you don't have that goodness in your heart, you're putting a burden on yourself. That's what's actually occurring. All right. Brother Derek Blashface says, yes, teach. Open 642 said if misery is 44, she was saying 44. So that's correct. Melissa Hart says, higher self. And Brother Derek Blashface says, yes, been there, done that. Laughing out loud. Yeah, man, because I mean, a lot of brothers, because you know how, they'll be like, well, there's the House of Ruth for battered women and abused women. That's what's kind of in the forefront. Let me tell you what's not ever in the forefront, because it's usually treated like, oh, motherfucker, be tough, get over it. I come across more cases of brothers being abused in relationships more than the mothers. In my experience, that's what I come across the most. Brothers are abused psychologically, verbally, emotionally, and sometimes physically. And it's usually by women when they do these things. then what they'll do is they'll project what they're doing in being abusive onto the son. You know what I mean? I've actually seen videos of brothers that come to me, you know, they're like, look, man, I just had to record, you know, so that if anything go down, and the one, like, the woman is being completely abusive, throwing things and saying, look, I want to call 911 and say that you hit me, and the sisters will be injuring themselves to try to hurt themselves, and then they'll put on an act as if they're hurt and crying on the phone, calling. And I'm telling you, it is a tough position that to my experience, I've experienced more brothers dealing with abuse than what's actually put out there in the world as if it's mothers dealing with abuse. That's my experience. I'm not saying that's what it is for everyone. Maybe it's something about my energy that's supposed to minister to brothers that's dealing with that. You see what I'm saying? Maybe that's just what it is. But even in my own experience, that's what I've experienced. Because when mothers see that you're not going to retaliate, right? They'll try to do everything to make you want to hit them. And I'm the type of dude that, okay, so let me go somewhere far away from this situation.
SpongeBob, all right, I'm gonna head out.
Yeah, let me, you know, go in the office or go outside. You know what I mean? Hey, bro, what's up with you, man? Yeah, man, look, let me come through. You know what I'm saying? That's how I was in the past. I'm trying to tell you, man, like, sheesh. You know what I'm saying? Mother Sahar says, wow, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of brothers out there that deal with domineering. And then to see how it gets flipped, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm guessing that the mothers don't want to be held accountable for their misbehavior in the moment. Then they'll say, well, this is what you're doing, and you need to grow up, and you have mental issues and things like that. And it's like, that's only being said because I think it's known that they're doing wrong stuff. They're mistreating someone, you know what I'm saying, in the moment. And I'm just saying, guys, like, there's something we got to talk. You know what I'm saying? We got to handle these things. You know what I mean? And there are way more brothers that I've come across that are dealing with some form of abuse from the woman they're in a relationship with. You know, you ever remember, guys, you remember when you was growing up and you saw that one brother, it's like, man, why bro always got a beer in his hand, or he always sauced? Because he's made a commitment to someone who's made his life a living hell. And you think he just got an issue and a drinking problem, but you know, it's been brothers that I sit down with that was like that. And back in my day when I was a roll-up champion, I would roll up like, yo, you want to hit this? I want to rap to you for a bit, man. Like, what's going on with you, X, Y, and Z, or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, what can you tell me about relationships? Because I see you and your wife been together for years, man. How you do it? And that's when there's been plenty of times where I got that, look, young blood, let me tell you something. Boom, 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 boom. It's how it look on the outside, but really, boom, 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 boom. And I'd be like, and now I got to make sure that I continue to act like I was before getting that information. But did I hear her side? No, I didn't. However, I'm acting like I don't know anything happens, but certain things that I've experienced prior to him telling me that, or this happened with quite a few old heads, but I'm just thinking of one in particular. I was like, oh, that's what she was doing in that moment. Wow. Because what will happen is when no one's looking is usually when the brothers are getting abused. That's when it's usually happening. You see what I'm saying? And I'm telling you guys, it's a lot. They got House of Ruth for women. But who needs it the most is the brothers. I'm trying to tell you, you'll be surprised. Brothers need relationship counseling or something, or need a way to be able to deal with the abuse that they do. And usually it's done on a everyday. You know, some women think they don't have an attitude problem at all. They think they're just being normal. But these brothers, they can tell by little changes in their attitude, with little small things being said. And it's like, all right, she's actually cool. Dag, something about that or whatever happened is because her brow changes or whatever. The tone in her voice slightly changes. I'm telling you, sons pay it. Brothers that are in a relationship with you, mothers, pay attention way closer than you think. Pay very close attention to everything. I'm not saying every man out there is like that, but the brothers that's on some, I'm being committed to this mother type energy, man, he ain't make that commitment based. Men commit off of loyalty. And once that loyalty is broken, this is a man who's trying his best to deal with life with someone who is completely showing disloyalty. It ain't like, oh, well, she going to mess with another man. No, it's disloyalty because she's not bringing those soft endearments. She's not alleviating his trouble with her counsels. She's not alleviating his trouble with her counsels, right? Open 642 says emotional abuse and narcissistic trauma bonds. That's what a lot of brothers are sharing with me. Like, it's been a lot over these last few years since declaring and proclaiming my nationality and doing astrology. I'm telling you, when the brothers come to me and they get to really open up, and again, I'm not going to say any who's, but I'm telling you, it's a lot. And it's across the board, from regular brothers don't nobody know, and up to celebrity status. People are usually dealing with some woman who has some domineering control issue. And then she won't fix it. Why? Because she hasn't been caught. Because it's being done when no one else is really looking or watching. Not no one grown. And most of these brothers that I come across, they don't want to do any harm to these sisters. They much rather just try to find a way to deal with it. They feel like if they walked out just to get a breather from the pressure of being, abused, right? It is narcissistic, Open 642, you're correct. Being abused in that fashion, then it's like now they got to deal with, oh, who'd you going outside to call some bitch? I've had brothers like, look, yo, I left my phone and stepped outside and I still got accused of something. You know what I mean? It's like, sheesh. Mother Sahar says, that's why it's important to get that astrology couple session. Yes, it is. As well as continue to practice correcting your character at all times. You can't really get comfortable and then think you can just talk to people any kind of way. You got to always kind of, in relationships, I think you always kind of have to be professional and kind and loving. That's what I think, just from what I've been able to observe from the outside looking in, being the astrologer called upon. In the beginning, there was like opening the door, saying please and thank you, and hugs and kisses. And it's like years go on, and it's like, door unlocked, you got it? Like, like Kevin Hart said, you remember when you first started the relationship, and you just got one juice, and he was like, I take a sip, you take a sip, I take a sip, you take a sip, juice. I take a sip. You want some honey? You take a sip. Now it's like, I'm getting some juice. I'm going to here. Do you want anything? No, you don't want it? All right, because I'm not sharing my goddamn juice with you. And then you get back in the well, and she's like, can I have a sip? Like, didn't I say, God damn it?
Just ask him.
It's like you gotta. It's almost like every day has to be the first date. You know what I mean? That's what I mean by like being professional. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's really what it takes, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Open 642 is laughing at that.
It's got to be like that Avant song.
What?
Hi, you ready? My first love. That's like kind of the energy it's got to be. Long as I live, you know, just yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because I know some mothers, you know, when they get a chance to express why they come off that way, they'll say that they've gotten over it, or like the word they're healed. Like, I'm healed from it. That, I think that's just a new quippy term. It's like, that's the new slang term to say, to try to act like you got it together. But the lie detector shows that was a lie, you know? So it's like, what's actually happening is it's a thing of maybe past situations, and then, you know, those past situations, you're actually using the energy from it, but saying, you know, you're not going in the past, you're just, and I'm telling you, I've seen and heard a lot. And what I've realized is it's very hard. It's like a video that I saw, and it was like, you know, they had the word accountability on the table and all, and it was 3 women, and it's like all they had to do was take the word accountability, and it was just so funny. I was like looking like Superman in front of kryptonite, and it was just like, wow, man, like, I'm not about generalizing all women do this or all men do that. I'm not about the generalizing of that. It's just that for that to come across my eyes, and then in my experience, basically being a bit of a relationship counselor when it comes to people coming to me for astrology, I'm telling you, it's like, sheesh. And when I'm on these lives on TikTok, it's like, sheesh. You know, especially when I'm in like the psychology sessions, you know, there's a few beings that will have like these sessions. One in particular that I do kind of like frequent because of the topics that come up about, you know, the interaction of men and women. And I know what's going on out there, especially people who don't have Prophet Noble Drew in the forefront of their mind. It's really tough. That's why it's really important for both mother and son in a consorted relationship to really be in their Quran. Whether they're reading it together or reading it separately within their day or whatever, at least that practice is happening so that they can be able to really, the purpose is to meet Prophet Noble Drew in the literature and see why these things were, you know, were divinely prepared the way that they were prepared, you know. Any questions, comments, and or suggestions going once? I'd like to thank you all for joining us for our AstroCivics Sunday, number 53, the Holy Koran Devotional Countdown for Chapter 21, Marriage Instructions for Man and Wife from the Noble Prophet. All right. Catch us next day, right? Venus ingresses Libra. Look at that. So for Intuition Monday, Venus ingresses Libra, guys. We want to have some fun with that, right? You're going to enjoy it. I know you. I know you're definitely going to enjoy it. And then Brother Sean said next Monday we're going over Tracy Ellis Ross's chart. Man, if you missed Saturday, we went in on Dave Chappelle's chart this Saturday in the astrology concept correction. I gotta download that video. I'm gonna download that video and put it in the drive for all that are part of that drive. I'm telling you, man, sheesh. That's all I can say. Sheesh. It is mega love, seriously. Open 642 says truth is imperative with an exclamation point. And Mother Sahar says yes at Open 642. Yeah, guys. I mean, we got to be real. We got to actually have a happy home when nobody's looking. We got to make sure we are giving those gestures, being loving, making sure we are having, goodness within us and not suspecting anything. And I get it. It's easier said than done because, the first thing Prophet Noble Ali said is learn to love instead of hate after calling, all Asiatic. Come all Asiatics, North America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights. You're not black colored or Ethiopian, Negro black colored or Ethiopian. Back to that mindset of your ancient foremothers and forefathers so that you may learn to love instead of hate. If you got to learn to love instead of hate, that means you're already a hater. Just saying. So, questions and comments, and no suggestions going Twizzlers. Brother Sean?
Nope. Just check it out, man. Really just view ourselves, like how are we raised? That's like I said, like astrology is so important. Like, man, like now, like even when I just like think back and like look at things, I'm like, man, I wish I would have had that astrology for like all the people that I knew, like I was going through some stuff. But it's it's really evident, like we really have to study ourselves. Like, what did our parents go through? How did that come on to us? And then what stages did we go through in love? And, and really just able to see things and, make the necessary adjustments and corrections, like, and not allow ourselves to be caught up in this social media shit that is not fucking real. Like,
correct.
And yeah, because it'll have you bitter and, and just out of element, out of character, and it really has nothing to apply to you. And even those that are doing that ain't even doing it themselves. They're doing it for attention or views or some of that. Like, I remember as a post, matter of fact, I had seen something come up about Tyrese's, I don't know if they're still together, ex-wife or whatever, but like she had divorced him because people in social media was in her head. You know what I'm saying? Like, had a husband who was didn't cheat or none of that, and she was caught up in what everybody else thinking, like, and not being secure within her own mind. So it's really just being secure within ourselves and, knowing thyself and knowing that, knowing ourselves is an everlasting journey. Like it never stops. There's always something to know or understand about yourself.
You
and there's
just
actually
go ahead. Actually,
what was that? Well, earlier when I was reading through chapter 21, I just, I was like, man, let me just see if I can find a couple other, Bible verses to go on tangent. And Proverbs 31, 11 through 12. The heart of a husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. And then Titus 2, minutes verses 3 through 5 goes in on just about the older women and all that, and that's another good one. And then Proverbs 18:22, whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor of the Lord. So all those different things go together. I think people just have downplayed or really not have read and actually conceptualized like these verses and Bible verses or whatever religion. They're not actually like really internalizing those things. They think it's just some BS, and then wonder why all these things are occurring out here, because no one's actually really reading and thinking and feeling those things. They're just taught to ignore it. And like, bro, even earlier when you was like, I'm healed, it just made me think of like, I'm saying I'm healed is equal like you're triggering me, but I'm gonna say this to deflect you away from, deflect myself from having to actually think about some things and to get you off my back. And I yield, bro.
So in terms of what you said about Tyrese, chapter 21 again, verses 13 and 14. 13, when scandal is busy and the fame of her neighbors, which this would be Tyrese, right? The fame of Tyrese is tossed from tongue to tongue. If charity and good nature open not her mouth to say, I want a divorce, the finger of silence rests on her lip. Looks like that finger was missing along with the charity and good nature. 14, her breast is the mansion of goodness. Sounds like that mansion was missing some goodness. And therefore she suspects no evil of others. The others is what? 7th house, right? Commitment, partner, right? So she allowed herself to not be the reflection of chapter 21, verses 13 and 14 in the Holy Quran. For the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Moorish Science Temple of America. I mean, it's a flawless example, bro. You see what I'm saying? And this is not us, let's finger wag and talk about women. And, I'm not about that. That's not my life. I love my mothers and my brothers. I think we should have prudence enough to show how these things are tied together when we go, okay, well, that reminds us of this verse, this chapter and verse pertaining to this particular book, whether it's the Quran, Bible, whatever, right? Just to see what it is. Mother Sahara says true. Because at the end of the day, like, come on, man. Like,
at the end of the day, everybody wants somebody. Dang, comes back to that Rough End song. At the end of the day, everybody wants someone to love them.
mm-hmm.
So that's what everybody really wants. At the end of the day, they can deny it, but you really can't deny it, So, and it's just, man, it's just being clear and focused. That's all it really is, and it's cutting out distractions.
Islam. So I just know that, sheesh. I'm trying to tell you, it's a lot of brothers out there that deal with that. A lot. And then, like I said, they're dealing with that because they know they're doing good and they think that there will be a change the more that they continue to do good. However, I think their consort is taking advantage of the fact that they're not retaliating unfavorably to them. They're not like, bitch. They're not, they're not doing that. You see what I'm saying? And
they're not like that one skit, you know what I'm saying? That Chappelle Show skit.
Mm-hmm. With Wayne Brady.
Like, Brady had to smack it.
Does Wayne Brady have to slap a bitch? Like, so, and like I said, it's a shame. There are some sisters out there who actually want their consort to do that. And that's a super no. That's a super no, and it's out there more than not. It really is. It's out there more than not. All right. So with that being said, questions, comments, and or suggestions going precise. We're going to do our invocation out here. All righty. We're going to extend all 5 appendages on the left hand, just the index and middle on the right. We want to stand with our feet on a 45-degree angle as we face east. And again, as a reminder, east metaphysically is symbolic to going within. And you can repeat after me either aloud or in ye heart. All righty. Islam. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
The Father of love.
Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector. My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. Through his holy prophet. Noble Drew Ali.
Noble Drew Ali.
Amen.
Ra.
Indeed, guys. Thank you all so much. Mother Sahar says peace and love to all. See you all next day, right? Monday, right? For the East Coast, that's later today, right? All right. Out there near the Central and Pacific, that's next day for you guys, right? And as we go in on Venus ingressing Libra, Venus is back to being dominant after coming out of its fall sign, right? And soon we know the sun will ingress Scorpio also. So with that being said, guys, we love you all. Rest and recharge well. Mothers and sons in relationships that are consorted, kiss and hug each other like it's the first date, right? Really, seriously love each other. All righty. No matter what you're going through, just love each other. And remember, brothers, by these lessons, ye can set ye house in order so that ye little ones will learn to love instead of hate. We are each other's little ones in that sense, because we're setting an example at all times. Even if the consort isn't, still set the better example, because that'll be in harmony with the silence of your resignation being remembered when you answer not again. In other words, not negatively retaliating. All right. That goes for both mothers and my brothers. All right. So with that being said, peace to all, says Open 642. And so does Brother Derek Blashbay. He says peace. This is where we say to y'all, rest and recharge well. We love you all. Namaste. 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 Islam, 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 y'all. Peace and love. Peace.